welcome to another episode of Conversations in the Den. Today,
Yeah,
our guest will be Eric. Sorry, I don't remember. I don't know if I got your last name.
Eric Jones Jr.
Eric Jones. Sorry. Today, our guest is Eric Jones, and he's going to be sharing with us some of his experiences along his life journey.
mhm. Welcome, Eric. I'm Jennifer, and thank you for being on our show.
Thank you guys, or thank you ladies for the opportunity. You guys aren't guys, but thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're welcome.
absolutely, no problem. Thank you for sharing with us.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. So, Eric, I know that you were born with challenges, physical challenges, and just reading about your story. I mean, it's very inspiring to me, and I know that our viewers would want to hear your story because you know, we need to be inspired with facing challenges and still being an inspiration to those around us, And I see that you've become an inspiration to those around you. So tell us, how was that like? You were born with club hands. Can you start from the beginning? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. So, when I was actually born, I was born in 1986. So it wasn't like the
Oh wow,
ultra.
you were born yesterday. Like wow, you're a youngin.
But back then they didn't have ultrasounds where you could even see, like, you just knew you was having a baby. So when
Yes.
I came out, like, the doctors were in shock, just like everybody else in the room. They had to go research and figure out what my situation was even called, what it was about, or anything. So it took them
Yeah, but
20.
from my understanding, from what I read, I tend to do a little bit of research. It's just a genetical thing. It's nothing to do with being in vitro. Like it's nothing to do with how you were sitting in your mother's womb or anything.
Yeah, it's
It,
not
it
it's not.
no, it's genetic.
No, it's not genetic.
Oh,
Nobody
it's
else is.
not genetic.
No, it's not genetic. Nobody else in my family, nobody else that remotely close to me. I was born one out of a million people like that. So it's not genetic. It's basically God chose me on May 7th,
Okay.
1986 to be born that way. So when I came out, my mom, she loved on me like any mom would. My dad,
Mhm.
he was kind of like,
Eric, can I just interject one minute there?
mhm.
I love what you said. God chose me to be. So carry on. I like
Yeah.
that. Keep
So
going.
So my mom, loved on me like any mom would. My dad, he kind of was like not rocking with me because of the way that I look. He tried to like kind of blame my mom, like, "Oh, it's your fault." It was, like I said, it was nobody's fault. So it
No,
took the
it's not.
doctor. It took the
Eric,
doctors. Go ahead.
Eric, I hate to interrupt, but at this point in time, our viewers are wondering what we're talking about. So tell us
Oh,
what we're.
okay. I was born with club hands, and it's basically where I don't have the radius bone in my arm. Everybody has two bones in their arm, and I don't have the radius, which is the main bone, which would make my arm shorter than everybody else's. But there's four different types of club hands. Some people might have just a couple fingers missing. Some people, it might be one hand. It might be just, it's different levels, but I have the type 4 of it, where I had to get surgeries. From my first surgery was at the age of 6 months. My last one was I was
Oh
17 years
wow.
old. Yeah. So when I was born, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Shriners Hospital.
Yes.
But yeah, Shriners, and
Yes, it's fine.
they so happen to be in the hospital I was born in. I'm from Michigan City, Indiana, a small town. Who, they just so happened to be at that hospital that week. And they came in, they told my mom about the hospital and the program. And that's basically how, from 6 months to 17, I got all my surgeries. Everything was taken care of because of them.
Praise
So
the
my
Lord.
It's
so
wonderful.
my
Yes.
so my first surgery, you guys ever been to the hospital and you know how they got to put an IV in your vein? So
Yes.
you can't find the vein in my arms. Like, they've been trying for years. It's like hard. Like, you got to go somewhere else. So they cut my left leg open to try to get a vein. Couldn't
A six
find
month
one.
old, right?
Yeah, I'm 6 months old, so I ain't even
Wow.
talking, walking. I'm still a little baby. And they cut my
Yeah.
leg open to try to get a vein. They couldn't. So they had to put the IV in my manhood. This is all while I'm 6 months old. So, my mom, she's just like, oh my goodness. But she said after every surgery that I had, I was always calm. I was never the person that was like, oh my God, So um
Yeah, as a mother, as mothers, we understand that.
yeah,
You know, it's very challenging to see your child in a situation, no matter what the situation is.
Yeah.
As a mother, you want your child to be 100% at all times.
Yeah.
very true.
Yeah.
And as
And
and as a father too.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course,
Absolutely.
of course. Now what is I gonna ask you? I just we're both stroke survivors, by the way.
Hmm.
If you did not know that, both Jennifer and I are stroke survivors.
Hmm.
I'm a 5 year stroke survivor. Jennifer is 10 years.
Hmm.
Yeah. So,
I have
sorry, go ahead.
I have some physical challenges. I cannot open my left hand.
Hmm.
Yeah.
My fingers have not yet reconnected to my brain.
Oh.
Yeah. So
So
we go ahead. Sorry, Maria. Go ahead.
yeah, so that may happen at some point in time. It may not happen. But I mean, fortunately, I had the stroke on my right side, and so my left hand, it's my left hand that doesn't function, my left fingers, but I'm right-handed, so that was
Yeah.
a blessing from God.
A blessing in disguise.
Yes,
And
absolutely, because it could have happened
man,
on either way.
yeah. Thank God for that, Maria. Eric, so how many surgeries did you have from the age of 6 months to 17? But I think there's a story that you wanted to tell about your parents at the age of 6 months, and they're putting that IV, they're finding the vein in in your pelvic, in your pelvis, which is your penis area, and putting that IV in that area.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have hurt like hell, but you're a baby. So you're just screaming and crying,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
that's basically what it was. After that, I had to, like, around 2 or 3, I had to take physical therapy just to be able to go to school with quote unquote normal kids. And then after they where I went there and they kicked me out one day. And they kicked me out because I was too advanced. Like, I was able to do everything they didn't expect me to be able to do. So I remember my grandma always waited for me when I got off the bus. And
Hmm.
so the bus pull up and I'm crying. And my grandma is real old school. And I was her favorite out of her children, out of
You're
everybody.
not supposed to say that, Eric. You're
Uh,
supposed to keep that one on lockdown.
Listen, if she was alive, she'd tell you. And if my mom was on here, she'd tell you I'm the favorite. But so um as the bus
So
comes,
you're the
I'm
favorite.
crying, and my
Yeah.
grandma is like, what's going on? She's ready to, like, hold on, who made my baby cry? And they were like, no, he's just too advanced, he doesn't need to come back here. And so at that point it was kind of like, okay, I don't really need the to be categorized in the and where people want to put me. You got to go here to do this.
Absolutely, yes. You
But
can do all things because you can do all things because God made you whole,
very true. So right.
regardless of what you may have, whatever deficiency you may have had, you still were whole and were still able. Now, what I want to understand, what I don't understand at this point is, are you saying that you from your elbows in, your hands are turned? Like,
No.
I
Uh
saw many different pictures of clubbed hands.
yeah. So yeah, when my hands when I was younger, they were like that before I got surgeries. So
Right.
throughout all the surgeries, they were breaking my hand, they were moving cartilage from fingers and different areas
And the
to try
muscles.
and stuff of that sort. So when I first started off, I did my arms were kind of crooked. But my last surgery, I had a metal plate placed in my right arm. So just like you were saying about you were right-handed but it messed up your left hand. So in the middle of my junior year in high school, I'm right-handed, I use my right hand for everything. I
Hmm.
have to get surgery with a metal plate in my arm and put a cast on in the middle of the school year. So in the middle of the school year, I had to end up learning how to write with my left hand.
Wow.
Wow.
I swear I raise my hand to everybody who can switch hands, because that's to me is amazing.
Yeah. So after like physical therapy, I always stay with like my mom. My dad was around, but my dad passed away when I was my biological dad passed away when I was 4. He had cancer.
Oh,
So
I'm,
well,
I'm
so
sorry.
I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so thank you. So as I get older, my mom, she gets married to my sister's dad. We move into a house. You know, school's about to start. I'm about to start school. So I go to school and like the kids are picking on me, you know, because I look different than everybody else. So it wasn't as bad like younger. It got worse as I got older. But one of my friends, he taught me how to joke and like joke back on people. So when people would joke on me, I would joke back on them
Mm.
and throughout but uh-huh.
Eric, help me understand that part, because that is a coping mechanism that people want to know how to do. So you are being picked on, people are making fun of your short arms. What are some of the things they're saying to you, and what are some of the things you've learned to say back?
um so before I kind of understood words and all that stuff, it was like they was just jokes. Say I look like maybe a cartoon character, stuff like that. Sometimes they would say something about my parents, like they had something to do with it. But just learning how to joke. I've been a talker my whole life. My mom told me that, like, so I just know how to talk, and I really just know how to joke. I don't know if it my friend just gave me the basics, and after that I just ran with it. It's like
Mhm.
it got to a certain point. It's like if the only thing you can talk about is my arms, then that makes you a bad person, because I can't do nothing about this. That's, you know, if that's what you want to talk about, that's okay. But if you
Exactly.
but
But
once they
they needed an attitude adjustment,
yeah,
whereas you had a physical challenge. They were needed to be mentally compassionate people.
yeah, but I mean they're kids, so we were kids, so
Oh
it's
yeah,
not
that's
like
right. Yeah,
yeah, kids wasn't really thinking about
yeah.
that.
Kids are not
So
very nice.
it just really was like look at something they had going on, or well, most of my friends, like my guy friends, we all joked on each other. They never joked on my arms. They just, you know, we just joked. And just from being able to joke with my friends and learning how to come back at them, I was able to come back at other people. And then it got to a point where people would want to fight, because for some reason people would think the kid with short arms is just don't got no brain, just he not smart, he not supposed to say nothing back, he supposed to just let you say whatever you want, you know, get all the, and I'm not that person. Like
Mhm.
my heart, I got a heart big as a lion. Like I don't care who you are, we all bleed the same. So it was like, if you're gonna talk about me, I'm gonna talk about you. And if you want to fight, we can fight. Like I'm not gonna back down because my arms are short, and I'm not gonna back down just because you feel like you're bigger than me. And
Good.
that's just kind of how I always been. So in elementary school, I've always liked basketball since about
Mhm.
birth. And it came to a point where I didn't want to keep watching other people play. I wanted to play by myself. So I would go to the
Okay.
court and start playing and teaching myself, because I always watched basketball. My mom, she worked in retail, so I don't think I've ever seen my mom shoot a basketball. And my dad, which he was my stepdad, but he's my dad now.
Mhm.
He he thought he could play because he beat me.
But you had to school them, huh?
No, he was taller than me. He beat me all the
Oh,
way
okay.
until I was 15 years old. The day I finally beat him, he never played me again. So I never got the chance to really beat him like he beat me.
No rematch, no rematch.
Yeah. So so with basketball, I got a basketball court at home. I got one in my room, and I would just go play. And my mom would sign me up for basketball. I'm from a small city, so everybody kind of knows everybody. It's not like, oh, it's the kid with the short arms. It's like everybody allowed me to play.
Yeah.
So it got to when I was in middle school, and I still was pretty good. I was always short. I didn't get to be in 5 foot, or at least 5 foot, until I was in 10th grade. So I was always the short guy. But I didn't
Oh,
realize
so
you had.
sorry. How tall are you?
I'm 5'7" right now. So I was
Oh, I thought you
four.
were gonna say 5'7.5", because guys always add half.
Yeah, I'm 5'6" and a half. So I did add the half.
Hey, Hey, Eric, I am 5'2.5". They told me I lost a half an inch years ago, but I said, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I'm 5'2.5".
Yeah, I totally understand. So when middle school happened, that's when your grades actually got to be good to try out for basketball. I didn't like school. Like school and me, it's crazy that I work at a school, but I didn't like school. So I didn't really get a chance to even try out for the team because my grades were like horribly bad because I didn't really like school.
Now,
So
was that because you were um not
no,
having mental challenges, but you were like, in your own head?
no, I just didn't like school. My son,
Oh, okay.
my son's kind of the same way. He's 6. He's in first grade. He really don't like this virtual stuff. But I just didn't. I didn't like school. I've always been a person that kind of, why are we doing this, or why do we have to do this? Who made this
Oh,
up
you
to
were the
make
one
us?
that questioned things. I was that person as well. I always questioned things.
No, I didn't question it. I just didn't care. Like I would go to school. I was just a talker. Like I was the class clown. But in what grade? Ninth grade. So, and throughout middle school, I still was kind of getting in trouble. I still was kind of getting bullied. But I still was getting bullied. In sixth grade, I remember this is the only time I ever cried. Like when somebody joked on me. I remember him. Rest in peace to him. He passed away a few years ago. We still was cool or whatever. It's just that day he just was on my head, and he was just jokes and jokes, and it got to me, and it was like, okay. I remember my mom told me, like, you're gonna have to deal with life because your arms aren't gonna grow. So you're gonna have to make the adjustments. And when she told me that, that kind of got me out of my shell of being insecure because I always wore a jacket. I didn't like
Now,
going
can
in
I ask you a
public.
question, Eric?
Uh-huh, go
Um,
ahead.
did they offer you know how professional athletes sometimes they give them prosthetic limbs and stuff?
No, I don't
Is
want
that not a
that.
possibility?
Nah. That's not me. I didn't even want social security when I got older. Like I don't want no handout. I'm
No,
not
no,
a
no. I'm
I
just
know.
asking if that was something they
Nah.
offered.
Even if they did offer it, I would have said no because that's not me. I like to be me. I like to be authentic. Because if you don't like me, for me, if I gotta go get some prosthetic arms for you to enjoy me or something like that, I just never felt I needed any extra. Now I had dreams and I thought of those things if I had longer
Hmm.
arms and stuff, but it's just like no, I wouldn't even done it because that's not who I was. And
Eric,
mhm.
absolutely, I really applaud your confidence in your physical appearance, and I really applaud the fact that you took a stand that this is who I am, and this is how I'm going through this world. I'm not changing my appearance to please anybody. I really applaud that. But I want to ask a different question, which plagues the entire world. It doesn't matter where you live. This plagues all children. Do you think that the bullying and the making fun of you had anything to do with you not liking school and not wanting to not wanting to sit for an education, for lack of a better term? Like, do you think just being bullied and that just kind of made you shied away from school? You just didn't have, you didn't want any more of it on an 8-hour basis. Do you think that that had anything to do with you not liking school and wanting to sit for that education?
No, I don't think it had. Maybe in elementary, like when school was starting, I didn't like going to school because of that. But no, I like going to the school building. I like talking to my friends, playing. I just
Yeah,
didn't
you
like.
wanted to socialize.
Yeah, I want to socialize, and I learned different than. I mean, everybody learns different. I like hands on. I like you to show me what's going on. Like rather than you reading a book, I'm not gonna listen if you're reading a book. I'm gonna go to sleep or something like that. So it's
Hmm.
more of I think teacher all not all teachers but certain teachers and how the schools and stuff were, they didn't cater to everyone's
They didn't.
needs
They
of how
didn't.
they
Yes.
how they learn. So
Eric, before we go
mhm.
on, I don't want us to run out of time because I want to hear your whole story. Are you able to tell me, just so we can get to the other part? How many surgeries did you have from 6 months old to 17? And then, if you could just sort of maybe tell us about those challenges, so we can. I want to get to the part about you being a dad and having a business and all that stuff,
Okay.
So if you could do that in a few minutes and tell me about 6 months to 17, that would be.
Okay. So from 6 months to 17, I had over 16 surgeries.
Wow.
I don't remember a lot of them. Like I don't, because I mean, it put me to sleep, but I don't remember a lot. I just remember going to the Shriners. I remember. I'm tell two stories that I remember, like not stories, but 2 times I remember my surgery. So one time, like I had band-aids all over my body because it's hard to find a vein. So they were just poking and trying to figure out. And that's why I don't like the hospitals. That's why I don't like people when I go. I know I can find your vein. No, you can't. I'm 35. I'm about to be 35 years old. I'm pretty sure I know my body more than you. And so it's kind of like I remember that, and that kind of I don't like needles because of that. And then when
I have actually a similar situation because I have really tiny veins. They roll, and every time I go into a lab or to a hospital, they always try to use the big needle, and I tell them you have to use the butterfly needle. But for some reason, they always want to try, and
yeah.
so I end up getting jabbed 3, 4, 5 times. And
Mm.
I was told by a doctor one time that really nurses are taught to try make 2 efforts, not 5 and 6, to try to get your.
They get 1 effort with me. I tell them you get one time and that's it. Cause like I'm serious. Like I don't like being poked. But and I remember my last surgery. So my last surgery, like I said, I had to get a plate in my arm.
Mhm.
And at Shriners, they got like all different kind of activities for kids. And when I see someone playing basketball, it's like my basketball radar go do 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 go play. This is an hour after I had surgery with a metal plate in my arm. I see people they're playing basketball. I go down there and I start playing basketball. But
Oh,
yes, but I'm right-handed and I've never really, shot the ball with my left hand. I was shooting with my right hand too, even though it hurt a little. The adrenaline didn't really kick into afterwards, but I ended up winning the games that we were playing with the cast on and using my left hand. So like
So that plate is where it's in your bicep, your tricep, like.
no, it's out. It's not. I don't know if I have those things. Tricep, biceps. I mean, my forearms are shorter than everybody's,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's gone. They took it out like months later or something like that. But just from me being able um to make that adjustment, that's kind of like how my whole life has been. It's like you could put something in front of me and it's a hard task, but I'm gonna make the adjustment to
You gotta
figure out
figure it out. Yeah.
how to figure it out for me.
so
And
Mhm.
that's
Eric,
just go ahead.
so you've been making adjustments now from 6 months to 17. So tell me about 17 and how did after 17 you graduate high school? What happens at 17?
So I graduated high school by the skin of my teeth, because my GPA was a 1.7. I was accepted into a college, a small college, and my mom said, "You can go to college or you can stay at home here with me." I said, "Oh, I'm going to college. I'm not dealing with you and these rules. I'm about to get up out this house." So I go to college, me, my best friend at the time, and one of our others, she was she was a close female friend to us. She's like, it was like the three amigos. So
Mhm.
we go there. I didn't last. I ended up what was I taking? I taking computer programming, which I should have been taking computer networking. But since I picked the wrong program, I was already in it. My mom said, "You're gonna stay in that program and you're gonna figure it out." Well, I didn't figure it
Okay.
out. I had to drop out and then I had to go move back home, which I didn't want to do. So I ended up going to Ivy Tech, which is a community college. After that, I stayed home. I saved up my money. I moved to a college city, Bloomington, Indiana, with my friends because they went to Indiana University. So I
Mhm.
went there and I had the time of my life, like in college. But again, I didn't do nothing with school, but I did one
You was having a
semester.
good time socializing.
No, one semester I did get a 3.0. I was shocked that I got a 3.0 because after third grade, I ain't got an A or a B like in a long time. But anyway, so as I was,
Funny, Eric. You're funny.
thank you.
Well, you know what's
So
funny is that Steve Harvey says that. Steve Harvey says he says if I got more than he said if I got more than a C, I was in shock. He said I would like fall out. Like you know, he
Yeah.
was not he was not very academic as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can get a C by showing up every day and writing your name on the paper. I know, but so I
Well,
go to
Uh,
Bloom.
he wasn't doing that, I guess.
So I go to Bloomington, you know, having fun. I kind of after school, like school ends, so I'm still kind of down there, and I moved here to Indianapolis, and I'm staying with a friend and trying to find work, because work for me, like throughout my life, every job I've had, somebody knew me to give me the job. Now I got temp jobs at like warehouses where they ain't really caring what you look like or nothing, because they like, if you mess up, we gonna fire you and replace you. But the serious jobs that I've had, I always known somebody. So
that's a blessing, you know?
I mean, it's a blessing that I know a few people, but I wish I didn't have to do that, because, like, you get a lot of no's. You get a lot of emails that say, "Oh, well, you don't fit what we're looking for," and all that. So it's kind of hard when you're applying for job and job and job and you're not getting it. So basically, part of
But you have to remember, Eric, every no is there for a reason.
yeah, I didn't know
That
that at
just
the time.
wasn't for you.
Yeah, I didn't know. I wasn't motivational. I wasn't none of that when I was younger. I was just living life trying to figure it out. But so most of my adulthood consists of me living with someone, a friend or a family, because I didn't really, I didn't get the steps of life, like what do you do next and all that different stuff. So it kind of was like trial and error for the good portion of my life. And then I started staying with I moved back to Indianapolis. I was a manny. You guys know what a manny is, right?
Mhm.
A male nanny. So I was
Yeah.
a manny to my
Oh
little
wow.
cousins, and that's when I kind of understood adulthood, because my cousin, he's older than me, and he was like in his 30s. I was still in my 20s, and he gave me like, helped me, you know, get the structure of becoming a man, stuff that I needed to do, stuff of that sort. So continuously living life. I move in with my friend. I stay with her. I'm working. I'm, you know, just enjoying life, not really thinking about what my next move is, not even thinking about the next day. I'm just trying to get through each day.
You're in your 20s at this point.
Yeah. And then I meet, but then I have like, I'm down and out. I have no phone. I'm staying with I have no money, but I had some game where I could get me a female. So I met my son's mom. Well, I knew her from college, and I met her and we start hanging out. She has a daughter, and I've always been good with kids. So she liked me because me and her daughter had a relationship. So, you know,
Mhm.
we got together. She ended up getting me a job where she worked. So I got a job. And I remember my mom told me this, like as I got older, she was like, when you have a baby, make sure you got a job with benefits. It just so happens that job had benefits. And I think two, 2 or 3 years within the job, we had our, you know, had my son. Well, she had my son. And then I
What
ended up getting
a
married.
blessing. What a blessing that you have a job that has benefits before your child comes.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
because
I've
yeah,
always actually said the same thing to my daughters.
yeah, and that makes sense. So, you know, in the relationship, and that's kind of seeing my son come out and just looking at him was like, all right, you got to get your stuff together. Like you can't just go to this 9 to 5. You just can't be going out hanging out with your boys. Like you got
Hmm.
to do something
Yeah, you had
different.
to step up.
Yeah. And I remember I seen a Eric Thomas video. It was called UOU. It was on Facebook. And I'm like, it smacked me in the face. I'm like, oh, okay, I need to figure out something. And he so happened to be coming to Indianapolis that like a few months later. So I signed up with his community, Breathe University. He
Hmm.
came, went to his conference. I ended up talking to his right hand man, CJ. Like when I saw ET, I didn't get like starstruck, but I was like, what the heck I'm gonna say to him? And I didn't capitalize on that opportunity, but I talked to the other person and he kind of gave me some, you know, some structure of what to do. And that's when I kind of started speaking. And once I started speaking, everything else kind of trickled on down. I started mentoring, becoming a basketball coach. Um,
Now the kids that you're mentoring,
mhm.
um, do they have challenges or are they just regular kids?
No, they just regular kids. And the thing is, like, some people would label me as a person with a disability, but I was never treated that way. So I don't like, because I work in special education, so I see what special needs kid how they get treated. I was never, I mean, I was
Yeah.
bullied, joked on, but I wasn't treated like them. Everyone, all because from a small town, everyone knew you, so everyone treated me equally to the
Yeah.
most part. So I never put myself in that community. So
Mhm.
it's not like I almost feel like I wouldn't know what to say to them, because I feel like they go through it more than what I had to go through it, because my mom never treated me a certain way. I didn't get, oh, he has a disability, he not gonna get in trouble. No, if I did something wrong, I was getting my butt beat. I was getting put on punishment. So it was nothing. I wasn't
You
treated
were
different.
cleaning your room. You were doing all the things that you had to do.
Yeah. I stayed in my room a lot. But so the young men are young men like me. Maybe they didn't have a dad, or they just don't have a male figure, or they like basketball. That's kind of where I started. I started coaching because my son's sister, which I still call her my bonus daughter, she wanted to play because I played, and I coached her team, which was co-ed. And then like their mom's best friend son played on the team, and he was like, hey, you want to coach a team full of boys? And I asked her, I was like, is it cool if I go coach the boys? She was like, yeah, sure. So I started coaching boys, and one of my players was bad. He was bad at school, bad grades. He was just doing all the wrong stuff. And that's how the mentor program started. And then
Eric, how long ago? How you're 35? When did you start coaching?
all this stuff started in 2016. My son was born in 2015. So everything started in 2016. That's when I
So your
started.
son is 5 now.
Who, my son?
He's 5.
No, he's about to be 7.
Oh, I
Oh,
thought you said 2015.
Wait,
no,
2015.
Maybe 2013.
No, 2014. 2014 and 2014, and he was born on the 15th. I always mixed them up
Oh,
because
okay.
he's born on
Well,
April
that's cool.
15th and the 14th. But yeah, he's about to be 7. Uh,
so Eric,
so go ahead.
Eric, so tell me, in the last 5 years, if you can sum up your life of what you've been doing in the last 5 years of your son's been born. What have you been doing in the last 5 years? If you can tell us that. I'm sorry, we're running out of time, but I want to hear the whole story. So we're going to go past our time. So
Okay, that's fine.
tell me about the last 5 years, will you?
So the last 5 years, it's been a roller coaster. I've got um let's see, my son was born. That's one of the best feelings ever in life. I was a stay-at-home dad at first. Then I started working again. Then I started speaking, and with the speaking, I was part of a book, a co-author of a book. I started a podcast. I had a radio show. um I got married, but then I got divorced too. um I started a
That's
clothing.
okay.
Yeah, I started.
Sometimes it don't work out. It's
Yeah,
just like.
I'm not tripping. But so then what else? I had a friend, a very close friend I met like right before my son was born. He ended up going to jail for a long period of time for doing something, making a mistake. So that
Mhm.
kind of shook me up a little bit, because me and him were really close. And then just going through the ups and downs of being in a relationship, trying to figure out what you want to do while still having to go to work and pay the bills. So after the divorce, which was like, or what, the split up, it was like 2 years ago. So within the last 2 years, I was basically almost homeless, didn't have, like, account was always in a negative, like no car, no nothing. And in the midst of all that and COVID, um, I bounced back to having 2 cars, to having a place to stay, to starting a business with me and my son, to being consistent on my podcast, and to where my son's mom was like, I wasn't stable enough to keep him. Like I always, when I kind of knew we were gonna split, I'm like, my son eventually gonna come live with me, just because I'm a man, I'm a good guy, and I know he needs
You
a
can teach
male.
him manly things that she can't
Yeah.
teach him.
So within a year's time, we sat down not too long ago, and she was like, he can come live with me. She think that's the
Wow.
best. So just just in the last 5 years, what I would say is once you start, don't give up because you're gonna get punched in the mouth, you're gonna get punched in the gut, you might get hit in the back of the head, whatever it might be. You got to get back up and just keep going after what it is that you want to do.
Amen.
Because if
Absolutely.
you don't, you can't be mad at anybody but yourself. Like
Yes.
things are gonna happen. I'm gonna give y'all a quick story real quick. So this happened to me Monday, Sunday, Monday. So I kind of live in a not the best area, but it's not horrible. So I go to the gas station, as I do most nights. I'm in line. Someone steals my car while I'm in the gas station because didn't have I didn't have my the door lock, but I'm running in and running out like I always do.
Yeah.
So in this process, like this is the best car I got. A church blessed me with this car a month ago because they seen all the hard work I've been doing. And it's like, wow, how does this get taken from me? And it's like, I still can't stop what I'm doing. I didn't have a phone, nothing. The next day I was at work. Like I wasn't like, oh, I can't go to work. No, my bills still got to be paid. I still have to show my
Yeah,
son
exactly.
that no matter what happened to you, unless I'm dying or like something happened to him where he's injured, you still got to do what you need to do, no matter
Yeah.
what happens to you. You don't have to be born with a disability. You don't have to get your car stolen. You don't have to go through a divorce. You might lose your job. Anything might happen, but you can't give up. You
Yeah,
could
life
take
happens.
yeah, life happens, but you gotta punch back. And that's kind of
You
like
just
been
know
my
it.
thing, like punching back. Like I'm not you could hit me all you want to, life, but I'm gonna get back up and I'm gonna continue to go. And I have a why, my son. Like if you don't have a reason of what you're doing stuff for, then you're gonna give up when you get hit. And that's kind of how the last 5 years have been. Like I've been beat up, but I ain't never give up. I ain't never throwing the white towel. I just kept going. And now things are starting to make sense. Things are starting to happen for me because I didn't
Positive.
give up.
So tell us about those things that are happening. I know you have your own business. Tell us about the business. What is that about?
It's a clothing line. It's called Christian Dewan. That's my son's name, his first and his middle name. So when I was 30 years old, I went to Atlanta for my 30th birthday. Had fun, had a little too much fun, missed my flight. But I was with one of my closest friends, and he had a clothing business, and I kind of got interested in. I always like clothes, and my son is albino, so clothes is kind of his thing. He it's not like he understands like he looks different, but if I got on nice clothes, then he don't feel a certain way. So I was
Eric,
like, uh-huh.
Eric, um, explain to our viewers what albino is, because a lot of people don't hear that term. I mean, I haven't heard that term in a long time. So explain to our viewers what that is.
So albino is where your skin pigment is like less. Like it's different.
He doesn't have the melanin in his skin.
Yeah. So it's different variations, just like with me. Like I have a cousin, excuse me, I have a cousin that's albino. When she goes out, she has to have a hoodie on, glasses, like the sun will mess her up. Like my son, like in the summertime, he can't go outside for too long. I remember once me and him were at the pool and we out there playing for like 4 hours. Nothing happened to him. His mom came and got him. She called me like, "What the heck is going on?" I'm like, "What you mean?" His whole back was burnt up, like he had sunburn. You know, we're black, and black people don't really get sunburn, but he got it like
Okay, back that up on that one, because when I was in Antigua and I was on that boat and I was drinking all day on the boat, the next day I suffered because I had my skin was peeling.
But
I
you were
had
out.
I was
That's your
wearing a
fault.
bikini,
You
of course,
outside.
on the
Yeah,
water.
yeah. You were
So
wearing
yeah,
bikini.
we
You
do
was out
want.
there. That's you. But you get what I'm saying. Like, so his skin pigment is different, and like their eyesight can be different too. Like when you
But his
look at
skin is white. Am I
yeah,
correct? Yeah.
yes.
Yes,
So, but and
I
me
think
and his
that's what I'm
mom are
getting.
black.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. For our viewers, is that even though I'm not sure what color his mom is. What
She's
color
the
is his mom?
same color as me. She might be a little
Okay,
lighter. We're like the
that's
same
that's
complexion.
what I'm getting at. Because Eric is black and his wife is black.
Ex-wife.
They had an albino child, which is a child that's the skin is very
Mhm.
very white, and the sun affects him differently, meaning therefore it could be detrimental to him if you are not careful and if his mom is not careful in how
Does
he
he
is
have blonde
dressed
hair?
No,
when
he
he's
has
dressed
red. He
goes
has
out
red
there.
hair. He has red hair, and then like his eyes change colors.
Yeah.
Like with that. So that's so clothes kind of me and his thing. And I just
Mhm.
remember my dad dying, my biological dad dying when I was 4. He didn't leave us nothing but problems and questions. And because I have an older brother by my dad, and he knew my dad, he was with him. Like I was 4, I don't remember him. So I just know like I didn't want to leave my son with questions and problems. So I wanted to leave him with ownership. So I wanted to start a business. That's why I named it after him. His name's on the LLC. So if something was to happen to me, it's his, and he can do whatever he wants with it. So
Wow.
right now, I do all the work. I'm he's the boss and I'm the worker. It's weird how that happens, but that's really why I want to be different than everyone else. Like I wanted to be where my son right now he's in elementary school. He learns the basics, but if it gets to a point where he doesn't really need to go to school, we can get him a tutor and they teach him certain stuff. He don't have to. I don't like to be traditional, and you don't hear too many 6-year-olds with a business. So I wanted to be something different. I wanted to give him something that he can have down the line. So it's not really about me, it's more about him, and
Wow.
Yeah,
just
well,
me
there's
That's
the
giving
saying
him.
that my grandfather used to always say. He would
Mhm.
say, you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. You teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime.
Yep, and he sees everything that I do. Like he goes with me everywhere. He always seeing me working. So even if right now he's 6, he's playing and all that, but he as he gets older, he's gonna understand what hard works look like because he's
Hmm.
seen me come from nothing. He's been there
That's
every
what he
step of the
sees.
way, and so he's gonna be able to see it. Like you said, I'm teaching him how to fish so he can be able to fish on his own, and then he can teach other people how to fish.
Yes.
And that's just reason I started that business. I had a radio show with a buddy, the radio company or whatever, whatever you want to radio station, they just
Hmm.
weren't good, so we stopped and I started a podcast. So I have a podcast, it's called It's a Jones Thing. It's basically me just giving the real Eric. Like, when you're kind of a speaker and you go to schools, you can't cuss or you can't say certain stuff or you can't
Hmm.
joke in a certain way. It's just me being me. And then I have guests on there.
Hmm.
And like the guests, they all different kind of topics. Like I've had my son, I've had my sister, I have my mom, I've had someone talk about back child support, I've had someone that actually died like on the table, came back alive because they had a heart attack. So I had different people because I always want to get different perspectives of how people live
Yes.
life and what they go through, and then give it
Absolutely. Because
and be
everybody
able
has a
to,
different journey.
yeah, and
yeah.
give.
Right. I want you to
Go ahead.
our coordinator, our producer is going to put in the comments the name of your clothing business and the name of your podcast. So if people want to look you up, they're able to do that and just follow your success and follow your determination. We're out of time, but I wanted to say there's a couple of things I noticed about you. Um, you take responsibility for the people that are around you. And so your car got stolen, but you still had a responsibility to go to your job because you were earning money for the people that you loved. And so I see that being a characteristics of yours, whereby throughout life, you not only take responsibility for you, but you also take responsibility for the people around you, the people that you take care of, the people that you love, the people that are depending on you. And that is what it means to be your brother's keeper. And you've demonstrated that so well in your whole life. And I don't think you probably realize how well you demonstrate that. But also, you have, there's something built into you that says, um, that says, life may throw me a curve, but that don't mean the curve need to stay with me. And you've always had that. When you share with me from 6 months to today, 35 years old, I see that when you get that curveball, you don't keep the curveball. You send it back out, and you send it back out straight. So congratulations. I admire you.
There's
You're
a
an
scripture that
inspiration.
says there's a scripture that says I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Yeah. And
And
you really emulate that, Eric. You really
yeah,
emulate that. Kudos for being a great dad to your stepdaughter and your son. Kudos for being a great member of the community, giving back to people, giving back to your community through
yeah,
your talk show, through your blog, through sharing with us. I mean, you're an inspiration through and through. And so that's why we like to have people that can inspire people to do great things. And you're
yes.
one of those people, you know? I want to ask you one more question before we go. Um, your arms, would you mind showing them on camera, or is that not
Mhm.
something you want to do? If
No, no,
you're going,
no, it's okay. It's just because the computer I was on.
yeah,
So let me see. Hold on. Can you, hold on. Hold on. Let me take these headphones off. Can you see me? I don't know. Okay, I gotta stand like this. Wait,
okay.
there we go.
Oh, okay, I see. I see. So that's all the surgeries to give you that all of that length.
Yeah, because like right in that area was curved, so that definitely added some length to it, added strength to me being able to do stuff, or to me for me to be able to have confidence. Because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't drive for a long period of time because I was scared. And then
Yeah.
when I actually finally got in the car, I was like, oh, this ain't even that hard. It's not even that bad. But just from the perception of, you know, a big car, my little hands, I was always scared until I got in there. It was like, oh, this ain't that bad. So that probably was like the only thing that I've ever like a challenge where I'm like, oh no, I'm just not gonna do it. And then when I finally did it, it was like, oh, it's not that bad. Kind of like zip lining. I was scared of that, and when I did it, it was fun. So sometimes you can be scared of stuff, do it scared, and you'll
Yeah.
actually, it'll work out for you.
Yeah. Eric, do me
My
a
biggest
favor.
fear
Can
is falls,
you
falls
hold
and
up your arm
infections.
like this and
Very
just kind
fear.
of show me up to where your hand started? Like if you can, when you were a child. So, okay, I see what you mean now. So when you were a child, you did this whole part here for you was right here.
Yeah, like this part was curved, like to yeah. It was like
Yeah.
how your
So
hand
this
is right
part here
there.
is all
That's how it
surgery.
was. So this went in, and then this went because your main bone is like right. It goes from on the top part, so that's
Yeah.
what stretches it out. So since I didn't have it, my hands went in. So
Mhm.
I used to have to wear like braces at night when I went to, how Forrest Gump wore his braces when
Yes,
I had
yes,
to wear
yes.
those
Mhm.
braces,
Yeah. Mhm.
and then I used to have like little physical therapy. Like after my surgeries, I have to do certain stuff so my hands wouldn't lock up. Like my right hand after that surgery, it kind of changed how things were. Like I was dominantly right, but now I'm dominantly left. But I still write with my right hand, but everything else I do with my left because the physical therapy afterwards didn't help like my hand tighten up. So it's
Yeah.
been an adjustment, but we
Listen,
got
Like,
through.
Eric, I want to give you the
do
last word
you experience
before
any
we.
pain?
Sorry, go ahead, Maria.
Hold on
Do
real
you
quick. I couldn't.
experience
Hold on.
any pain? Because I find with me, with the tension, I don't know if you have any tension in your arms, but I find that I do have pain.
Oh, yeah, I have a pinched nerve in my neck. I go to physical therapy, so I totally understand. Yeah, I have all type of issues, but I don't let it stop me.
Absolutely not.
I just fight through it. Even though some days it's like, oh, okay, I'm in pain, but I've always been a person to never show my pain, even when I'm in pain. So, but you say you Jennifer, you had a question, the last question.
I have a last question because we've run out of time, but you've been so interesting and we've gone way over time. But my last question is if there is a child that is going through what you did at the age of 7. Now, we're talking at the age of 7, you've got all of these surgeries, you're in pain, you're being picked on, you're being bullied, you have no idea that life is going to turn out well. What would you say to that child at 7 or that young man or young woman at 17? What would be something that you could impart to them that they could take and run with at this point in time?
Um, Love yourself and be yourself. Like you just got to be who you are. Like everybody didn't like Jesus.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to like everybody. So
Mhm.
you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but just live your life for you. Like don't try to fit in with the in crowd if that's not your thing, just because you want people to like you. Just be yourself, and the people that need to be in your life and the stuff that you want to do will happen to you. And that kind of was an up and down, as a kid and as an adult, to actually want to be myself. And when I got to being myself, it's like, okay, I like this. I'm not trying to be nobody else. I'm not trying to impress anybody. Like when I post stuff, everybody's not gonna like it. So you just gotta be who you are, and you gotta take it. But like when I go to schools, bet on yourself. Like if you bet on you and you put all the effort in yourself, you'll get to where you need to get to.
Exactly.
So love on yourself, be yourself, and bet on yourself.
Eric, those are great words. Those are great prophetic, really encouraging, inspiring words. And I want to end there and say thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for being vulnerable. I really appreciate that. Listen, have a great life. All successes
And
to you.
Happy New Year.
Be blessed in everything you do. And yes, Happy New Year.
Thank you, ladies, for having me on, and you ladies do the same.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.